Shares of Boeing are down today after reports suggest the company could soon announce it will pause production of the 737 MAX. You'll recall the U.S. and other countries grounded the aircraft in March following two crashes that killed 346 people. Boeing has worked to fix the flight control software issue with the plane, but has faced continuous delays in getting the aircraft back into rotation. CBS News transportation correspondent Kris Van Cleave joins me now from our D.C. bureau. Kris, so what more can you tell us about this?
Sure. So Boeing's board is meeting. It's the second of 2 days of regularly scheduled meetings. One of the things that the board is discussing is whether or not the company needs to make any changes to its production rate of the 737 MAX. Now, the company has said since its second quarter earnings call that if the 737 MAX grounding became prolonged, particularly if it stretched into 2020, which it now will, that they may look at further reducing the production rate of the airplane or pause it for some period of time because right now they've been building 42 737s a month out of their Renton plant and then storing them in either central Washington or San Antonio, Texas. They've pretty much filled up the space they have at the Renton plant for these airplanes. So they built them by the hundreds and can't deliver them now as long as the plane's grounded.
And so, Kris, remind our viewers why Boeing has faced this delay in getting the MAX 737 aircraft that were in use back in rotation.
So the 737 MAX is grounded because of two deadly accidents, the most recent being in March, which led to the worldwide grounding of the MAX fleet, due to an issue with a system on board the plane known as MCAS. It's essentially an anti-stall system that in both of those cases was triggered when another component, a sensor, sent erroneous information, and so now Boeing has spent the bulk of 2019 working to resolve the design issues with that software, as well as one other issue that developed during the testing of the software updates. Right now, they're essentially in the approval phase of these updates, and that was something that Boeing had thought could be done by the end of the year. It will not be done by the end of the year. It is far more likely that we see that happen sometime in the first quarter of 2020, but every timeline on getting the 737 MAX back in the air has been wrong to date. So it's hard to speculate as to when that'll happen, but it won't happen in 2019.
And so then we also can't speculate as to whether this software issue has legitimately been fixed yet, correct?
Well, Boeing certainly believes it has fixed the problem. Regulators say so far what they have seen looks good, but the evaluation process is not complete. The issues with the airplane are fairly well understood, so there doesn't seem to be a ton of concern that they're not sure how to fix it. It's just, did these changes fix the problem to an extent that worldwide regulators are satisfied with? And when we talk about a pause in production or reducing the pace of production, what we're really talking about are the thousands of people who work for Boeing and the thousands of people who work for Boeing's suppliers whose jobs may be affected if they slow the production rate or pause production altogether. That's really the question that will come out of this board meeting today. If they make a reduction in that output, what will that mean for the jobs of thousands of people across the country? And
Kris, we noted that shares were down, but how valuable is the 737 to Boeing?
The 737 MAX is estimated to be about a third of Boeing's revenue over the next 5 years. It is a profoundly important airplane to the company. Now, Boeing is a very large diversified company. Their stock, in fact, is up from year to date and over the last year, in fact. So even with all of these issues, their stock has performed surprisingly well. The company has a huge defense and space business that has been keeping the company, but has allowed Boeing to weather this while continuing to produce airplanes they can't deliver. And a 737 MAX has a list price between $80 and $100 million. So these are expensive airplanes that they're continuing to build that right now they can't deliver.
All right. Well, Kris Van Cleave, we thank you.